Welcome to Sea Beast Podcast, a casual creative podcast brought to you by Sea Beasts, who is just me and Ralph here. Me, Steven, and my co-host Ralph. That's Sea Beasts. We're a creative studio, and this podcast is just us talking about things we're learning, creative process, kind of going over our years of experience in creative fields to hopefully bring helpful insight to you. Today we are talking about, is this kind of the definition of creative process? You're like creating processes for your creativity.
Yeah, it could be seen that way.
Yeah. The topic idea that we have is creating creative habits, creating
I said
habits.
habits. I think that's how it comes. That's
Yeah,
how my
no,
brain thinks of it.
I think that's the right thing.
Or systems. You said systems, I think.
Establishing creative habits, creative systems, things like that. So to help you, figure out the best way to finish a project, create whatever you're working on, or just create for fun or improve on a skill. Getting these habits or systems in place or should be things to be helpful with your whatever creative craft that is. We're gonna switch things up a little bit this week, and we always joke that if you want the actual subject matter, you gotta wait till we're into it for a bit. Well, we're actually just gonna throw the subject matter at the front and see how that goes.
How'd it take us this long to do this?
I don't know. We were always we joked about it, but we decided we would just hit the topic first. That way, we give it the time that it needs.
Yeah.
And then at the end, we'll talk about what we're working on, personal stuff, kind of hit all those same things in the later segment of the show. So, Ralph, let's why don't you kick us off? What's like the main benefit of creative habits, or what would you describe as a habit, creative habit?
I think the more time I spend living, the more I just find it super necessary to build your life kind of around habits, around systems and good processes, routines. There's another good word, like essentially building a routine that gives ample room for the things that the things that are important to you. So in this case, we're talking about creative habits. So what that would look like would vary probably depending on the person. But for me, I guess I would probably I think for me timing is a huge component, like when I do stuff, when I do certain things. Um for example, this is kind of a topical one for me because I've been recently trying to restructure my life a little bit um in order to focus more on certain things that I would say are super important to me. So creative stuff would be one, health would be another, hobbies, other types of hobbies would be another, trying to relax every once in a while. All of those things kind of fall into your routine, right? So, I would say timing, I forget where I was going with that exactly, but I would just say, oh yeah, I was saying it was topical to me, because I've been doing this in my life. So, um, all of these things kind of have their place. Like my morning routine, I've tried to build like my morning routine. I do this. These are the times I eat. These are the times that I have to do chores. These are the times that I have to clean. And like setting it up as a process kind of has your brain. It helps. It's like it reduces certain decision making friction. Um, I think I've seen there's the classic example of like Steve Jobs always wore the same thing every day so that he didn't have to spend his brain power doing like What should I wear? He just wears the same thing. I mean, whatever you think about Steve Jobs, but there's a lot of like very famous high income type people have kind of adopted that where they try to remove thinking and decision making from
Hmm.
mundane stuff
Sure.
in order to spend their brain power on stuff that's more important to them. So if you have a routine, a schedule, kind of a life built around processes and good habits, you'll just kind of do them sort of on autopilot. It's not always that way. There unexpected things happen,
Sure. Yeah.
curveballs come, but at least the past few days, like if you have a crazy day, you can look back and see that you've made progress the past few days or something. Like if you've made a slot for creative stuff, you can see, oh, I've done this. So it's not like you're constantly thinking, oh, I have to start this and there's no organization in my life, so I don't know when I'm going to slot this in. And
Yeah.
also your brain kind of creates pressure around the idea of finally diving into something that you want to do. Like you
Yep.
want to do it, it's healthy, it's good, but you're it just kind of becomes this monster in your head. Anyways, I've talked for a while, so I'll let you
Yeah.
there's some of my thoughts.
I think that just covers it. So it's just
No.
yeah, no, I think there's a lot of good pieces in there. I think it'd be good to kind of dig into a little more. Um so like when I think of creative habits, like the reasons, I think I have some similar reasons of doing that, and I think, one of the main, like looking to create these habits to make sure I'm actually accomplishing the things I want to accomplish. And I think the one of the first reasons that I like to have these systems, these habits in place, um, is like that barrier to getting started. Like some of that decision, like fatigue or just like friction of making decisions, like you're saying. But any way to remove that barrier of just like getting into the work. Like if I can get past that first part, then usually I can, keep working on stuff, and then it flows. Get into some kind of flow state, whatever your opinions are on. People have mixed opinions on like that flow state idea and concepts. I don't know enough about it to talk about it, but in general, like
Yeah.
that's probably like my primary reason to create these kind of systems is that if I don't have scheduled time or like planned like uh things that I'm going to work on, I end up not doing anything. I'm either like scrolling for inspiration, like we've talked about forever, like we've talked about before,
Yeah.
where you're just like scrolling for, like, oh, look at that picture, look at that idea, like these are great. I'm just getting inspiration right now. I'm mood boarding,
Mhm.
and I can get caught in that trap. So if I can avoid that, if I can have like a specific task I'm going to work on, and have um and like have something in place to start working on, that's super helpful to me. So like with Wally, um I usually have like a set time of day that I kind of work on it. And like if I recently we've had some stuff, like I've been sick, or uh and then had like a hip injury. There's some other things
Yeah.
going on right now.
We'll have to dive into that soon.
Yeah, I'm getting old now apparently.
Yeah.
But my like normal routine is like get up in the morning, get coffee, and then I work on like drawing in the morning before the kids get up. But I've been a little bit out of my normal rhythm for like the last like 2 weeks. And so I've like not been super like focused, or that time that I usually use to work on Wally hasn't happened. And then it just doesn't really happen outside of that. Like it can sometimes, if especially if like I work on it in the morning, and then I'm like, I have an idea to continue it later, or I'm like, oh, I want to finish this page. If I have that first chunk of time in the morning where I work on it, then I usually work on it again like later, or I'm more motivated to keep working on it. But like recently, I haven't been doing it in the morning, and then I don't touch it. And like there's been a handful of times where I've gotten my tablet out to like, I'm like, all right, I should really work on this. And then I like, open the page and I'm just I don't know.
I
I
know.
don't know what to do right now. And then I
You don't have the
go do
momentum
something
from
else.
the morning time.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of one like a main thing for me is like that barrier to getting started. Um, that's kind of one of the most helpful things. Do you have anything on that aspect of it of like reducing that the friction, or do you
of
have any
getting
anything?
started.
Yeah, do you have like I don't know, some people do like certain drawing exercises. Like every time they're gonna go draw, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna, do some shading techniques, get my hand ready. I'm gonna do, whatever." Do you have any kind of system of like getting started, or is that something you're still trying to like work on?
To get yourself like in the mindset of
Yeah, to just start working on a creative
yes, like a
project.
warm up, like just
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
sport or some kind of activity, or
Hmm.
you some people would say the warm up super matters, or even your diet,
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
something like, so it's going to be your behavior, your lifestyle, your habits, all these things will kind of lead you into um whether or not you feel like working on it. And I would say, I guess you could just relate this to any kind of practice. Um, it really is about the hardest thing is probably going to be doing it the first few times. Um, and then once you've done that though, the friction kind of goes away. You sort of want to work on it. Um, and if your brain kind of is used to it, then the resistance lessens. I'm not saying it would always go away. So like your
Yeah.
example would be your life has taken a turn the past couple weeks, and um that has made it harder to get back into the routine that
Yeah.
you where you were on a good pace. um That is a tricky one. I am still working on my side of it in terms of like the slot for creativity.
Sure.
Um, because I've only recently made this pivot, where I'm building this up. Uh, I'm trying to build good stuff, and so far I feel like the trick for me is going to be the first few times I'm gonna have to set a slot, and then once I'm immersed in the project, I'll kind of want to continue seeing progress, and I'll want
Yeah.
to kind of keep going, and I'll see my brain will start having problems to solve, because when you have an empty canvas, you don't really have this problem to solve is like, where do I begin?
Yeah.
But once you start seeing stuff, then you're like, oh, well, I know that this needs to happen and this looks wrong, so I can correct that, or I know I'll need this component at some point, so I got to build that out, et cetera, et cetera.
I'd be my one thought on that. I'd be careful of like giving up the consistency or the habits to in exchange for like motivation, because I felt the same way with Wally. Like I had consistent time, consistent things. I'd be drawing. I'm like excited. I even have all the pages sketched out, so like I know what I'm gonna go and like refine and draw. But even though I'm like motivated and I'm in it, I lost like these last 2 weeks. I lost that momentum, and then I'm like, I got to go back in and start doing it again. Even though like the page is sketched, and I have my systems, I have my process for it. I haven't had that consistency or like that consistent time, that habit to like get myself into it. And so even though I'm motivated, I did kind of lose that. So I think there's always benefit to having consistency, even if you do feel like you're getting into like a groove and you're like, oh, I know I'm gonna work on it this weekend or something. But I think there's always benefit to having some kind of like scheduled
Yeah.
time.
Consistency, yeah, that's true. Really, this is all a roundabout way of saying you should have consistency.
Yeah.
Um, and what that takes, I think, more than anything, is just discipline. Like, there are just going to be times when you don't want to do
Sure.
you don't want to do it, and you don't have the motivation. And maybe you've had a rough run of things the past little bit, and you can't, like you haven't been able to touch it. Well, here you are. So either your
Yeah.
discipline takes over at that point and you decide to go back into it in your designated slot, or or you don't. You know,
Yep.
because you're not gonna magically suddenly think like, "Oh, yay, I'm gonna just go do this thing." Um,
Yeah.
the only the thing to realize is that sometimes it's fine. Like, sometimes it's okay to if life has just gotten kinda rough,
Yeah.
um, sometimes you transition into something else or, like, you get sick or something, unexpected things occur, and it's alright to take a little bit and not feel guilty about cutting yourself some slack, as long as
You get
discipline
back
kicks
to it.
yeah, as long as the discipline kicks back in at some point and you're like, "Okay, you know what? I feel good enough today. I don't really have a good excuse. Let's go. Let's get back to it." And the first
Yeah.
day does suck. Like
Yeah.
I'm my brain keeps relating this to like working out. Like
Mm.
if you're working out consistently, but then something happens and you can't for a while, it sucks so much that first day back really does just
Yeah.
kind of suck. Um, so, but you have to do it anyways.
Yeah. No, I'm in that spot right now where I need to like just get started again. uh, so I need to like, I'm looking at, how do I schedule? Like, I've got a couple other things, projects happening right now. Like, I've got another side project I'm working on with, like a friend of mine. And dude, in the last 3 weeks, I think talked about, did I talk about like someone asked me to do like a logo for them
You
and
said you
like a
turned it
book
down, I think.
cover. Yeah, yeah. So I turned those down.
Yeah, yeah.
So like yesterday I had another friend reach out about like, hey, can you help me like build a portfolio website? And I'm like, I don't have capacity to take more things on. I'm like,
A
here are some
website,
resources
yeah.
for you.
I mean,
I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, I'm like, here's Wix. Like they've got
That's what I always
templates.
do. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
your best bet most is, there's Squarespace. I built mine with Webflow, so
Yeah.
you
And
know,
there's like templates you can get started from. And like, I'm like, I'm not going to design a custom site because then yeah. Anyway, all that to say, like, I have another project that I think is worth my time that I'm working on, and so I'm trying to be more particular about like my schedule and like how I spend my time. So, like, I've got my work time, I've got like family time. Trying to think of like, okay, this other project is UX related. It's a design project. Like if I do that like during lunch at work, I'm still in that UX headspace. So it's not gonna like pull me out of there. Whereas like at Wally, sometimes if I'm like working on like drawing, that like switching between like design and drawing is sometimes a hard transition depending on how deep I am on other things. So like if I can keep like working on Wally in the morning, work on like this project, either like lunch break or like right after work or something. And then, yeah, anyway, I'm trying to figure out what this routine looks like. And I'm actually starting to like put on my calendar like planned times for uh like working on these different pieces. Because if I have multiple things going, I need to be like, I want to make progress on both. And they're different types of projects. I also have like some house projects, other things too that I'm like, I don't want to even touch that right now. Because
yeah,
it's too many things.
yeah, we'll get into that, and for me in the after
Yeah.
portion for sure.
So anyway, the consistency, I need to get back into that. I've lost some of the
Yeah,
consistency with Wally over the last couple of weeks. And like it feels bad that they're not making the progress that I want to make. I feel like it was almost like I like gave myself some breathing room of like,
mhm.
hey, I'm cranking too hard and I'm burning out. That's what we talked about last week. So I need to like, give myself some more grace with that. But now I'm at the point of like, okay, I need to get back into it because I took 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks off, whatever, from drawing, and nothing's gonna happen at all if I don't work on it. So
Yeah, it sometimes consistency isn't possible. I mean, sometimes it can't be that way. Life is kind of unpredictable, and it gets wild. And it sounds like you might be at risk a little bit of our topic from last time,
Yeah.
burnout. So
Yeah.
so we don't want that to happen.
No.
You don't want to go to a point where you're just kind of totally spent, and you have nothing in the tank for uh any of your whatever it is you're doing. Um I think I wonder if something that we didn't talk about could in terms of like techniques of how to deal with this, because I thought
Mhm.
about it when I listened back. Actually, I was like, oh, this would have been good to bring up at this point. But have you ever heard of the idea of batching?
I think so. Wh- why don't you go over it for listeners, not for me at all, but
Yeah. Well, hmm, it's a productivity tip. And I don't fully remember. It's basically batching tasks together
okay.
so that you feel like you're building up a lot of momentum, and maybe some of those tasks are similar in nature, and so it kind of leads you into the right frame of mind. So you can do like small stuff that then that like that gets
Snowballs.
you just kind of getting into a flow state, like stuff to ease you into a flow state, and you can like batch your all of that together.
Sure. Yeah.
Or if you're because of a flow state frame of mind, if you're like you can batch the same type of task over multiple days. So if you know that you have a bunch of sketching to do, you can do sketching for multiple portions of the project. Instead of sketching, then jumping to shading, then jumping to lighting or whatever. You can batch all of your sketching because it all takes kind of the same type of process, and
Sure.
you can get into a rhythm with it, and your work will be more consistent. Um, Most people use it for stuff like, oh, I write a bunch of my newsletters over a whole week in one batch, you know, and then that's all ready to go, and then I'll batch all of my whatever else. Um, it depends on what you're doing, but it's an interesting concept. And
Yeah.
with creative stuff, I don't know. Well, with our type of creative stuff, I'm not sure. I would just say it would be the same type of drawing technique. Maybe is how you could batch that together. Like if you're
Yeah.
more inclined, if some if some component of the creative process comes more naturally to you, you could start with that and then jump to the harder stuff after you've already made progress. Like make it easier on yourself for the re-entry. Maybe pick a easier page to dive into, or something that you know that you could just get done. Um and it's kind of mindless. And then once
Yeah.
you're in that, your brain is like, okay, I'm making progress again. This is good. This is a good habit no matter what. And then it'll make it easier to just kind of dive into some of the more complicated stuff.
Yeah. I wonder, so that was kind of my thought and plan when I was working on this book early on. I wrote the book and then I did all the sketching and like sketched the whole thing. And like so I know I have all the general layouts and action that's happening
Yeah, yeah,
on the page.
yeah.
But then I tried applying it to the finishing stage. Like I was like, okay, I'll do all the line art throughout. And then I'll go do color. And then I'll do shading and highlights and like the last level of polish. But like it didn't work for me. Like, and maybe I haven't tried it again since, but some of the earlier parts, I'm like, I want to go through the whole process on a couple pages to figure out the style, like figure out what shading looks like, figure
Yeah.
out well,
Mhm.
what the line art looks like and all that, and like the colors and my palettes and stuff like that too. And my initial intention was to be like, okay, I'll go do the line art for these pages, and then I'll go do like all the color blocking, like fill in all the colors, because the coloring side is kind of easy because I have a lot of these things established. Like I'm getting into some new areas that I haven't colored, so like I'll have to come up with some new, looks and stuff for that. But that was my intention, and then I started going into this process of just like completely rendering out the spread. So the 2 pages, I would do the line art, and then I'm like, well, might as well go color it now. And so then I color it, and then I'm like tweaking it, and then I'm adding other details, and then I go into the shading, and then I just like render the entire thing. And so then the next time I go to a new page, it feels like this daunting task. Is where I'm at right now. Before I like took this little break, I had finished a section of 2 pages, and then like I'm on this new page, and I just have my sketch. So I'm like, oh man, I gotta jump back into back into this. I've got to do all the line art, and like I wonder if if I should try what we just talked like this batching like that, and just try to do the line art, and then when I'm in that groove of doing line art and I turn the page, I can just keep doing that, as opposed to like I'm doing line art and then I'm like take a break to go do color and do this and this and this and this, and like, and then I have this like 20 layers deep of like refinement on this page,
Right.
that I get to the new page and I'm like, I have to do that again. That feels more daunting than if I'm just like going in and be like line art
Yeah.
through.
For like 2 days, you could do you could batch line art, and then you could batch some color blocking,
Yeah.
and then you're basically back in the world, and your brain should take over at that point, probably.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea at all, because it is daunting to just look at a sketch and be like, well, all right, I
to
have
get
so many stages to get through.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
let it be okay that you just get like a component of the page done,
Yeah.
That's probably a great way to ease back into it.
That's a good idea.
And for anyone who actually knows what batching is, I'm aware that
That's pretty much it.
I didn't really get that's not the pure definition or the best example, but I just know that it's basically a way to put together certain similar tasks and stay in the flow state so that you can knock through a lot of it at once, rather than like I'm going to do this and then totally shift gears and do the next stage of it. Um Even though like on that particular project, like it's across multiple things, you do the same type of work, like line
Yeah.
work for a page or something like that. So I just know that it's a psychological w- way to trick your brain into like keeping up the momentum, basically.
Yeah. It also makes me think of like, is it is it Pavlov's dog? The thing where he like rings the bell and that like triggers a response
Mm.
in the dog, like knows it's time to eat, and or like the
Yeah.
dog like salivates anytime he rings the bell. The dog salivates even if there's not food. Like
Oh, you mean like I thought that was
conditioning.
The Office. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he did. No, that one's great too.
I
Every
wonder,
time he, what did he do?
there's a
Like
mint, right? Or like, was it a mint?
the response was he gives him a mint, and it
Yeah.
would be like he'd make
He it was
some kind of noise.
the something with the phone.
It's like a chime or something. I don't know. Either way, yeah. Every time he would hand him a mint, and then like one day he makes the sound, and Dwight just reaches his hand out, and then Jim's just like, "What?"
What are you doing?
And then he
Yeah.
just looks at it's like, I don't know. Anyway, that kind of like conditioned response, I guess,
Yeah.
I think is what it is. If you can like find ways to condition yourself and like have triggers to like get into that zone, like maybe that would help too. Of like, I always go to this space. Like you have like a certain space that's where you do your creative, work. So it's like, hey, I sit down in this space. That's what I'm going to be working on. Like I'm not like I have a hard time sometimes like my office, my home office, because it's my space where I work during
I
the day.
know. Yeah.
It's where I game like some evenings, and then if I try to sit there and like draw, I'm like, but this is where
Right.
I game here. So like, then
Yeah,
I'm just
totally.
playing a video game. So like,
Me too.
having
That's why I got an iPad set up, is so that I could just go anywhere with it,
yeah,
and I don't have to just be in my office where I do my, like, work, 9 to
sure.
5, career work, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I I think that there's something to there. I don't know exactly what it is, like some kind of, response, but like similar to like warm ups, like you're talking about with like working out or like any kind of instrument. You don't just like jump straight into I'm just going to start playing whatever I'm
Right.
I'm doing. You've got some kind of warm ups, and maybe those warm ups are what triggers you into that mindset. So if it's drawing, maybe you draw the same thing. I used to do like a decent amount of voiceover work, and I had like specific tongue twisters
Yeah.
that I would say as like a mantra, and like
Watermelon.
I had a bunch of them, especially with like my S's. I have a hard time with a lot of like S sounds sometimes.
Mm.
And so I specifically focused on those. Or like I did some audiobooks and like certain character voices to get back into that character. I had like a trigger phrase where I would like say that phrase in the way that character always talked, and then I could just like go into that voice a little easier. Um, so like things like that, having like some kind of trigger or like response. I think there's some. It could be helpful. Some of this you have to figure
Yeah.
out on your own, and I think that's actually like a big point of all of this. Like as much as we're talking roundabout ways of creating habits and different things, like there's not a one size fits all because everyone's lives look different, their responsibilities look different, like families, whatever that is. Like you got to find what works in your schedule and like in your routine. And if we're talking about consistency, that might be every morning for me. For someone else, it could be like, hey, every Saturday night, every, like one day a week. Maybe it's one day a week. Like it depends on like what your goals are and what you're trying to accomplish. But if you're just trying to establish some kind of consistent scheduled thing, like even if it is just once a week, get it in that same time in the same spot, and to like start, building that up. And I think you can always add to it for sure.
Oh, yeah, and, another thing that just came to mind is it's something we really like as human beings is rewards. So you could also set up some kind of reward system for yourself. I don't know exactly what that would look like, and I
Piece
haven't
of
even done
candy.
this for me,
Ooh, piece of
really.
candy.
Well, I don't even know what it would look like for me, but
Yeah.
it's not a bad idea, like, good behavior equals like, if I hit my goals, if I do this, I can spend my night gaming or something. I
Yeah.
don't that came to mind, but, like, some leisurely thing, like, uh
It has to be something that you don't just do. Like if you get takeout a lot, or like,
right.
get like food delivered all the time, you can't be like, oh, if I do this thing, then I can go order a pizza. If you do
Yeah,
that like all the time anyway, that's not going to help, because it's just like, well, I could just order a pizza anyway. So, um,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, it becomes harder when you can basically do whatever you want all the time anyways.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I'm just saying, there's gotta be something. I'm sure someone has figured it out. Like, that's why apps exist, like, that give you dopamine for, good behavior,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
level up apps around the gym. Like, that's one of the most common ones, right? Uh you do this thing and you get to see it's not real, but you get to see like your little character level up or something, or you get to
yeah,
see your number go higher. We love to see that. So like I'm
yeah.
sure there's some equivalent you could probably make for yourself around
Yeah.
creative stuff.
There, I think that'll be kind of the last thing that we talk about on this topic. But before we do, I wanted to not address, just touch on a comment that Evan had made in our Discord about last week's episode. And it was when we were talking about burnout, and this applies now to our systems and habits too. He said, apart from taking breaks, like the best ways to deal with burnout, um, which we all should do to prevent stress buildup and creative block walls. He's talking about taking breaks there, is to set up reasonable and realistic boundaries. If there's still burnout, then really evaluate and reconsider, as health should always come first. And I think that's a great point, because as you're building these systems, don't like go crazy. Don't be like, I need to do this 3 times a day every day. Like, if you haven't ever drawn and now all of a sudden you're gonna be like, I'm gonna draw 3 times a day every day, one, you're going to get burnt out from trying to create this system, this habit. But two, like, you gotta, how we talked about, like, working around your life, like, you gotta figure out where those boundaries are, like what's reasonable. Like, if you have, a family or other people that like rely on you, or whatever it is, you gotta make sure like they're on board. Not, you can't just be like, hey, I'm gonna skip out on, like, for me with my kids, I'm like, hey, honey, I'm not going to do bedtime anymore because I'm going to focus on my creative projects then, or whatever. That wouldn't go well. So it's finding that balance, finding things there. So I think, like, the last thing I want to talk about on this topic, is there any, like, I don't know how to bring, like, a talk about this entirely, but the idea is talking about what kind of tools help you with either productivity or scheduling, or like managing tasks, like the things that you want to work on. Do you have any like tools that you use? Like, you were just talking about apps for other things, but like have those like rewards. Do you have anything that helps you like stay consistent, or helps keep you like know what to work on next, or anything like that? Any kind of productivity tools or apps?
Yes, yes, with an asterisk. I for this this will vary from a lot from person to person, because
I've
what
yeah,
works
I've
for
tried a lot.
yeah, what works for some people will not work for others. And I've learned about myself that tools actually, like, extra tools become eventually for me more of a deterrent than a benefit, because
Yeah.
I get sucked into like the tool and trying to optimize the tool rather than actually use it.
Notion.
Right, Notion is a great example.
We've talked about that one before.
Yeah, it's like it becomes a weapon of procrastination essentially.
Yeah.
But they're still good if you can learn to work with them. So like
Sure.
one thing one thing that has worked well for me is keeping it like, I will only allow a tool that's like an added thing as long as it's the most stripped down,
Mm.
simplified
Yeah.
thing
Yep.
ever that does not get in the way in any regard. So, a good example of this would be grocery shopping. So, I have recently needed to, like, begin basically grocery shopping, consistently every week. So, I it's very hard for me to keep stuff like that organized in my own brain. I forget, I will forget, and I don't like the clutter of having, like, some people have, like, a physical grocery list and stuff like that, and that just annoys me. So what I've done is I have the most simple system ever, and I just use the Notes app on my phone. So literally just the iPhone Notes app. And I have a list of my recurring purchases, and all that I've done, this is it, is I've set it up to where whatever's unchecked floats up to the top, and whatever is checked gets pushed down to the bottom.
Hmm.
And so it's just like the stuff that I need just builds over the week. And then as I go into the grocery store, I just check stuff off and they fall to the bottom of the list until I'm done. So there's a
Yeah.
tool that helps. And with the creative stuff, I think that your best tool is going to be removing whatever is in the way. So it might just be like getting better organized. Actually, sure. Exactly. Or like you mentioned scheduling out time. So if you're the type of person to keep a calendar, slot it into your calendar, or like make sure stuff is up to date. There's not like
Treat it like an
random other
appointment.
distractions. Sure.
Yeah.
Treat it like an appointment. Those types of tools I think are really good. And apps can be good. You just have to be careful with the
Yeah.
apps, I think.
I wanna so I've tried to optimize productivity so many times. I've tried to find the perfect tool. I've tried to do all these things. I completely agree with you that the simpler you can make it, like the better. I have like looked at task management tools to track all of my like connection contacts, resources, references, all these things. Like a while ago, Ralph and I were working on a project like years ago, and I was like, "Hey, let's use Airtable," which is this like
But yeah.
very robust tool, and like
Yes. Yeah.
it's super impressive. And I think the right person, it could be great for, and it could like if you have a lot of contacts and like you're logging a lot of information and all these interconnected like data tables versus whatever, that could be great. At work, we use Jira and like like
Yeah.
a task management system. You know that there's all these different things. I've used that. I've used like a simple checklist like on my phone. I've used uh Monday doc. I don't know. All of them. Notion. I tried to figure out like how do I plan all of my projects in Notion and get this template and get like a 5-year plan or something like
Yep.
Notion was way too complex to do what I wanted it to do. Notion could be great if you used it in the simplest form, but there's always this like uh I don't know, like temptation to optimize it, to try to dig deeper and do more with it. So for me, that like what I've gone back to is Trello as like a task management tool. I use Trello for like just simple things. Here's a category, here's like cards with like things I need to get done. And then it has some organization, it has some, other features. You can go deep into that too. But for me, that's been like I tried a bunch of things when I was trying to get, more consistent with Wally and all the other things and stuff with Sea Beasts and all my project ideas. But I went back to Trello and that's been great for me. I think for a while I was like, oh, Trello's too simple. Like I shouldn't use that, which even then, like it might have more features than some people need. But I just do some like really basic like task management things there to be like, these are the things I need to do. That's what I'm going to work on. And then the one other thing that I've tried to start using is this little timer that I have in my hand. And it's
All
called
right.
a Pomodoro timer. And it's just you turn it on, and then I just turn it to the 5 on top and it does a 5-minute timer. I turn it to 25 minutes. And like 10, like I could do it on my phone, but it's like sits on my desk. And so it's a way to be like, okay, what if I just worked on drawing for 10 minutes and I just turn a 10-minute timer on, flip it, and I'm like, okay, as long as this timer is going, I'm focusing on this. And most of the time, that's enough time to get me to like keep doing more because I got started. And so if I have this thing that's like, all right, I'm going to focus on this, I'm less likely to just be like, I could draw now, I could do something else. But if I'm like, I'm doing this for 10 minutes,
Totally.
it's not a huge lift and it
Yeah.
usually leads into more. So,
I like that. And actually, that reminds me of another component,
oh,
bonus component. But if you're having trouble with your routine and doing the things that you know that you want to do and need to do, it's time to get honest with yourself. I
mm,
think there another optimization I've tried to make within my own life is removing things that I don't need. One of those things could be social media. One of those things could be
yeah,
like excessive gaming or like scrolling or I mean, oh really social media is going to be the common one.
yeah,
I mean, that just is going to be it because it's so easy to just sit there and scroll your life away. It just really is. And you know, building a routine also helps you avoid doing that because it keeps you busy. I've been putting a ton of effort lately into making sure I'm busy and my mind is active on like stuff that matters, important stuff, and people that matter. So that's like those types of things will help, and you almost have to rewire your brain to avoid, like, distractions and eternal infinite escapism, because that's
Yeah.
the trap.
Yep.
It's right there, and we all suffer from it, but I guess you have to manage it and figure out when enough is enough,
Yeah.
and when to start focusing on your own life, you know? Don't watch other people live a life. You live your life, and it actually is really refreshing, um, if you can find stuff to cut out, even if it's not as huge as cutting out social media. I know most people probably can't do that, um,
It's
but
been I did. It's been great, honestly.
yeah, I know. Well, I agree. I think it is a good thing. I'm just saying, like, not to scare anyone off, you don't have to, because for a lot of people, that might be just
Become a
the
monk,
most insane. Yeah, like,
a
it might
hermit.
just seem so insane, but it's really not, though. Like,
Yeah.
trust me, your brain kind of we w are supposed to have stuff to do, like, real things to do. It's good for you. So if you can manage to cut some of the noise out, then definitely do that, and that'll help you get back into your good habits as well, is removing bad habits and replacing them with good habits. That's actually how you break bad habits. That's exactly how you break bad habits and also addiction or whatever. Like, literally what's taught is you have to replace them with a real goal, with a real purpose, essentially. And the only way to do that is to build habits around things that you like, or hobbies, or, like, start making more of what you actually have going on in your life and what you're actually good at. So, um, yeah,
Yeah.
wanted to mention that one too.
That's great. All right. We might have rambled on that topic for too long, but I don't know, because this is a new, like we said, kind of new
I'm
format of how
cool with
we're
it.
talking about this.
I think it's good.
So with our last bit of time here, um, what have you been up to lately? You have any
Well,
things you've
building
been working on?
habits.
Building habits? Yeah. Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, in my personal, so what I've been doing, I've really, couple things happened. We don't have to go super deep into them, but one of them, the reason why this is so topical for me, is I am starting a new job on Monday.
Hooray.
And I'm excited about it because I think it's essentially going to, it's still work, and it's still, you know, I'm gonna, it's still work, and it's gonna
It'll
be
be
a
less
certain time slot.
all-consuming, I
But it's
guess.
more of a healthy, I think, situation. It seems like a healthier company with better people and just better respect of, people's time and work-life balance.
Yeah.
So, really excited about that, and I've begun even prior to working, like, starting the job, um, starting to build these habits knowing that this is coming, basically. So, like, my morning will look like a certain thing, my evenings will look a certain way. I will do these certain things on the weekend. I will keep up with the chores on in this way, and then all of that should be fine, along with whatever, whenever I'm supposed to actually work. And so I think, yeah, that's the biggest thing for me personally. Um, and I've been gardening.
Okay.
uh, so I've gotten out there and I've started to, like, garden, which
For
essentially,
like vegetables, or
no,
like flowers and just like
just
plants and
maintaining a
stuff.
a bed
Nice.
of, like, plants,
Just
basically.
working in the dirt is rewarding, man.
Yeah, yeah, it is just
Satisfying.
working in the dirt. And I have enjoyed parts of it. I mean, you get out there, you weed, you spread mulch or something, you trim the plants if you have, like, a one that can get super big.
Sure.
Um, you edge around,
Yeah.
all this stuff. It's just another facet of yard work, basically.
Yeah.
But I've been there's been an increased focus on that lately, and so I've been kind of
Okay.
learning more about how to do that well.
Nice.
So
That's fun. I always enjoy doing like certain types of like outside projects or like landscaping things. They're very satisfying. I feel like you see the result quickly. And I think that's part of for me like what makes it like what makes it enjoyable. But
hmm
um yeah, recently I have well I got injured. So I guess well I I strained my hip. Um so I was leaning on the front of my car
okay,
talking to a neighbor
all
and then
right.
I stood up
That's it.
and I got hurt. Yep. Yep, that was it. It hurt a lot, and it's
You-
been a week and a half, and
I
it
guess
like
you just moved wrong, or
something. So okay, I had increased like the amount of like trail running I had been doing, and so like a week or so prior, I had run a lot more than I have in the recent times, and so I did like 2 5Ks in 1 week and like a faster 2 mile thing. And so I had increased the intensity on that. So I'm wondering if things were like a little more like overworked, and then just the way I stood up must have just like tweaked something wrong. But
yeah.
I went to the doctor a couple days ago, and it's a hip strain on like one of the muscles that connects like on the front. So it's not the hip itself, but it's like right where it connects. So I'm gonna be going to some physical therapy for my hip and also my shoulder because I have some other shoulder issue that's also been going on for a while.
Okay,
Because I'm old now. So yeah. Anyway, that
that
was
sucks. Sorry,
yeah. It like I couldn't walk on it. It hurt so bad. Um,
man.
it's been better the last couple days. It still hurts on and off, but like if I take ibuprofen, it's usually like at least bearable.
Good.
Um,
Just
yeah.
don't let them give you any opioids.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of addictions. Um
Yeah.
yeah, so I've been doing that and then I got a Switch 2.
You did
Yeah,
for
mainly
Zelda?
mainly for Zelda. And I
Yeah, I
got it
figured.
now cuz the price is going up in like a month and a half on the Switch. And so
Yeah.
I had like I had a bonus come in, so I'm like I'm gonna
Oh,
go treat
nice.
myself with this.
Yeah, sure, sure.
And my wife and I we also bought two inflatable paddle boards. So like the day after we got it, my wife Libby already went out and took it on the lake with a friend of hers, and we just hung out outside paddleboarding. So we're gonna try to do that some more. It'll be nice to be outside. Um, yeah, so that's fun. But
There's
I got the new Mario Kart with it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you got any games just, before Zelda comes out, obviously.
Yeah, there's a bundle that comes with like a free game, like one of three options. And my kids like playing Mario Kart. Like we've just started introducing them. They're not very good at it. But
It'll
we,
happen.
yeah, and like they enjoy Mario Kart, and like it's something that we'll play as a family. So I'm like, I someday we will want the new Mario Kart. Might as well just get it now with this. Like, there's no other game that I'm like, I really want that. So,
Yeah, for the Switch
ins-
2. That's what I said when we brought this up a few episodes ago. I was like, they don't have a system seller, so
yeah.
maybe, um, maybe Zelda, the Ocarina of Time remake will become
It
that
might. I mean,
system seller.
it is. It's for me. That's the only reason I'm getting it. So, I got the Switch One for Breath of the Wild. Like it's always been the only way to play the Zelda games.
Yeah,
Like
right.
so, yeah. I'm like that's what motivated me for that. But it's sweet. It's been fun. And I did play Mario Kart with the kids like the day we got it. So that was really fun. Um, yeah.
Nice.
That's what I've been doing. So I need to get back into drawing. Um, I've got couple like one small trip and one bigger trip coming up end of summer here still. So
Really?
yeah, I've got a long weekend coming up, kind of like a guy's trip that we go to like we rent a house out in the mountains every year. Some people fly in for it. It's like
Wow.
my friend Trevor and his brothers and a bunch of their friends. Um So I'll be going up there tomorrow.
Okay.
And then we're going to a town called Winter Park this year.
Winter.
Yeah, it's always fun. Sometimes we'll like go hiking. Some guys will go fishing. I probably won't do much hiking with my hip, but I'm hoping to have some like relaxation time. And my goal is to work on Wally this weekend, so
Yeah.
that'll be fun. And
Nice.
then
Nice.
the end of summer, in like a week and a half, so like literally the following week, we're driving to visit my in-laws. So we're road tripping to Chicago area from Colorado. It's like a 16-hour drive, so it'll be the longest. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be the longest road trip with the kids.
Wait,
But
how many hours?
16. So it'll be 2 days. So we'll stay the night halfway.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's gonna be crazy.
I think it'll be fine. We did like 6 or 7 when we went to like Mount Rushmore, and they did great. So this is just like if we do
So
like
you're gonna drive,
8 or 9
stay
hours
overnight at a hotel, and then drive the rest of the way. And then how
Yeah.
long are you there?
It's about a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
all right. Good luck. That's that'll be fun. That's gonna be quite a memory.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll see how it goes.
It'll be good.
I think we'll be good. We learned some things on our last road trip, so we're like, let's apply those and have activities, have like things. Honestly, sometimes like if there's like a story or like audiobook playing, the kids are just like listening and quiet, and it's amazing.
Do you
So
guys take turns driving,
I don't know.
or do you just drive pretty much?
I like to drive.
I always just drive. I'll say I've always just drived. Like me.
Yeah.
Just me.
When we did the Rushmore trip, which was like 6.5 hours, I think I drove the entire way there, and I drove most of the way back, except for like the last like couple of hours. But yeah, I just kind of prefer to drive. Like I don't like sitting in the passenger
me
seat.
too, dude. No,
Yeah.
me neither. There's a lot of reasons, but for me, I will always just take the hit and drive. Essentially,
Yeah.
it's no fun. I mean, driving is tough. But if you have something to listen to, it does help. And again, it's a big memory. So I mean, you'll be glad you did it. So
Yeah. It'll be fun. All right. That's all the time we got for this episode. Thanks everyone for listening and hanging out. If you have any thoughts on talking about subject matter first or not, let us know.
Did you like this?
Yeah, was it the best ever? Let us know in the Discord, which you can find a link to at seebeasts.com, seebeasts.com. Cool. Thanks again for being here, and we'll see you all next time.
Yep. See you guys.
Bye.